RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
Okie dokie. Guys, this is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. This is our Friday night get-together. We meet here every Friday evening right here at the Tarabuster YouTube channel, youtube.com/cfachannel/Tarabuster, and at the Political Voices Substack. Just go to politicalvoices.com, and I think you could find it from there. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Let me see. All right, stop it. All right, thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I see the chat room filling up. Thank you, Jim, for being a moderator, and welcome, Twisted Nerves Painting. Twisted Nerves Painting has his own channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Just click on his name, and it'll take you over there. But make sure to come back. And nice to see you, Mike Crawford, on the chat, and Errol. Nice to see you, Errol, and everybody else. Okay, so we meet here every Friday. This is our, I don't know, we've been doing this a long time, right? I'm tired. But, hey, there's no days off in fascism, so we do it anyway. And nice to see you, SYC Jim. Nice to see us, SYC Jim, on the chat. And thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for all you do to keep this show going and growing. And thank you, patrons, patreon.com/Tara Devlin, for keeping the show going and growing. And thank you, everybody. I don't know, what else? Thank you. If you can, there's so many things. I'm sorry. This is not an e-begging show. I hate e-begging. That's why I'm so bad at it. But please, if you can, remember to like and subscribe, all that stuff. Tell your friends. And also subscribe to the Substack if you can. Become a paid subscriber. That helps. I hate this stuff. I really do. If my father was not a garbage... my father was a garbage man. My mother was a nun. And then she worked for the post office. So I didn't exactly grow up on third base thinking I hit a triple. That's for sure. But if I were rich, like Traitor Trump's spawns, let's say, I would certainly not be a maggot anyway. There's no excuse for that. No excuse for maggotry. And I wouldn't have to e-beg. Let's put it that way. All right. But in the meantime, thank you for all your support. Don't forget to do all those things, and I'll tell you to do them again later. But in the meantime, let's get started on what we have to talk about. We're fighting fascism. There's no doubt. Trump is very sick, by the way. And we know that. I actually saw some TikTok from a psychic who said that he was going to legally and peacefully pass away on September 3rd. Hey, I'm just putting it out there. Okay? I'm not the one who said it. I'm just saying that he's going to die of a heart attack on September 3rd. That's what the psychic said. And I guess it was getting some traction on Twitter. I said, don't tempt me with a good time, lady. Don't tease me like that. That great getting up morning? And we can only hope. Because the thing is, he's done a lot of damage. And J.D. Vance does not have the same charisma. I don't understand how Trump has charisma, how anybody thinks that he does anyway. He's got the charisma of, I don't know, Scotch tape, maybe? Not even. Scotch tape has a utilitarian purpose. What is useless and has no purpose? It's just a hint. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. I have to workshop that a little bit more. But, yeah, so what is the point of a traitor Trump? There's never been a human being, and we could debate this, but there's never been a human being that's done more, has there been? Done more damage? A human being that is as useless as Traitor Trump. right? Has there ever been one as useless, as big of a waste of human DNA as Trump? Thank you, Jim, for being a moderator, because I see you're on the case. You never get a day off in the here in maggot world, right? When the maggots are abounding. I see there's a maggot on the chat, and he wrote something that is, of course, stupid as to be expected for maggots, and that's something we are going to talk about tonight. I don't even know if I should I guess I can just say what they wrote. They're not here anymore. Trans appeasement caused Minneapolis. Maybe we can just dive in there, because that's kind of on the list of things to talk about. Trans appeasement. Like, go fuck yourself, Jose Perez, if that's your name. No, that's not what caused Minneapolis. You thoroughly shameless. I mean, and that's what we were talking about with House Marks on the Tara show on Thursday, and we were discussing how to talk to maggots that they're shameless. You can't shame them, so you can only embarrass them, and because they're shameless. If they had a sense of shame, and it really is true. That's why I'm kind of struggling with that. But I know that I don't spend my time, or I don't waste my time trying to convince them of their stupidity, because they're a lost cause, like the lost causes that they cling to, and like the maggot, their God King. The fact that you look at that waste of human DNA and say, yeah, that's my leader, let's vote for the traitor, says everything about who you are. I mean, when I send somebody to represent me anywhere, I'm going to send somebody who is decent, who has my best interest at heart, who is an adult, who acts like an adult, who knows how to, live in the world without being such a whiny ass bitch. So, and nobody likes a whiny bitch, right? Like Jose Perez. Trans appeal. See, it's the attacking less than 1% of the population is to be expected, because anytime there is a mass shooting, the Republicans cling to whatever can distract from the fact that their policies have yet again failed. And it's hard for me to fathom, to tell you the truth, how they can construct so many straw men with all that blood on their hands. But they're good at it. They've had a lot of practice. And the fact that they're attacking trans people, the whole trans community. Now, 98% of mass shooters are cis white men. Okay? The person who committed the murder, our most recent murder, identified as trans, but they clearly were mentally ill on many levels. They were a soup, a deadly mix of all the swill circling around on the internet, especially in maggot land, which is a very horrible place to be. It's a dark and dismal place. And that's what the Republicans want to make this entire country, as dark and dismal and disgusting as they are. Because the United States, as written, as promised, the promises in our founding documents, it's just too decent for them. They can't handle it. The promises of e pluribus unum, of promoting the general welfare, of everybody in, nobody out, that's too much. They don't like that kind of society. That's why they want a God King. Daddy is home, all that bullshit. When they go on about daddy's home, they don't own the libs. They betray who they are. That they are incapable of functioning in a free democratic society. They're incapable of adulting. They don't want have they don't want they don't want to adult. They lack the fundamental maturity to pull up a chair and come up with compromise in a society, a multiracial, multicultural, liberal democracy. I know they hate that, but that's the way it is. If you don't like it, then fuck off to Russia. Do us all a favor, maggots. That would be the most patriotic thing you would ever do, would be the F off, right? Just go to Russia. Hold on, I hear the music. We'll be right back. Your children. We got a lot of maggots tonight on the chat. Damn, Jim. No, I just saw that one of these maggots wrote, your children. No, I know you are, but what am I? You see what I mean? Your children. Well, why? How? How? See, we're capable of functioning in a free, democratic, multiracial democracy. You, on the other hand, need a baboon cosplaying as the president to save you from the scary, complex world of others who don't know their place. You want a daddy. You want daddy to save you from the responsibilities of being an adult. Wouldn't that be nice, right? You don't have to do anything. Daddy just tells you what to do. He puts everybody in their place, all the scary people who are different. Yes, and it's not just the maturity, it takes courage. See, they don't have courage either, the Republicans. And that's why they attack trans people, because there's no community that is more courageous than the trans community. That they born into this world and they're taking all those risks to live an authentic life in spite of the maggots who are literally legislating them out of existence, or trying to. That's why, but they're still here, and they will still be here. Because it's just a part of life. Some people are born and they're trans. And we know that. That's just, it's not up for debate, whether you like it or not. Just like what happened, with gay people. They tried to do that with the regular old gays, the run-of-the-mill gays, but gay people kept being born, kept being coming out of the closet. It's just what it is. And Republicans don't have the decency. They don't have the compassion. They're horrible people. They're very obsessed with everybody's pee-pees. You see, your gender identity, as for the maggots who are on the chat, it's in your brain. It's not in your pee-pee. So are you telling me, maggots, that if somebody cut off your pee-pee, you'd suddenly be a woman? That's not how it works. It's not, there's no sense. I'm going against my own advice and Hal Sparks' advice. Why am I even dignifying their stupidity with an answer and trying to talk them off the ledge? They're dumb. They're fucking ugly on the inside, and they're evil. So, and they're attacking trans people when there's, the problem is guns. Because guess what, maggots? They got trans people all over the world. There are trans people in every country on Earth. But they don't have this violence. They don't have the uniquely American gun massacre problem. There's trans people. There's mentally ill people. There's, what are the other excuses that they use, that maggots use? It's trans, another trans shooter, they keep saying, because it doesn't matter if the perpetrators are actually trans. This is the latest, because the Republicans want trans people to unalive themselves, and they want to foment hate, just like the Nazis of the 20th century did. There's no coincidence that the Nazis that the Republicans admire so much, that they attacked the trans community then too. That was their first target because it's easy. And when you're not, when you're an emotionally stunted child, and not an adult, who you want a daddy to save you from the responsibilities of being a citizen in a liberal democracy, it's it's hard to explain that the complexity of the human experience, and they just don't want to. They'd rather target less than 1% of the population to keep the blood flowing, to keep the death going, and that's what Republicans do. They don't want to solve America's problems. They are the cause of America's problems. Please, please, please prove me wrong. Exactly. I see Redfoot on the chat. Thank you, Redfoot, for also being a moderator on the chat. And yes, I love that. Yes, that's exactly. I told you. My father said that all the time. We can only expect grunts from pigs. That was one of his famous sayings, and that's true. So we can only expect a grunt from a pig. So, and I don't want to insult pigs, really, because pigs are great. They are charming and intelligent, and would never put the stupidest pig in charge. That's for sure. And they would never deflect from the problem that's staring them right in the face. Because this is what we're dealing with. MAGAts, the Republican Party is an irredeemable death cult at this time. And let's start with this clip that I have of little maggot Mike Johnson. Wait a second. Where is my Substack? I just wanted to check a Rooney if everything is going. Oh yeah, there it is. There I am on the Substack. Hi, me. If you can, don't forget. Let me open it up. I want everybody to like and subscribe the YouTube channel too, because that helps keep the show going and growing. And the Substack, and everything. All right, you guys know what to do, right? The hell is where is it? Oh, there it is. I see you guys. Nice to see you, everybody, on the Substack. Oh, Jesus, I know. Jim on the chat is trying to talk me down. Don't argue with the MAGAts. It's true. There's no point to it. Don't bother arguing with them because they're a lost cause. But that's what we were talking about with Hal Sparks on the Tara show on yesterday. That I agree. I don't argue with them. Generally, I'm not really arguing with them. I'm just pointing out how deplorable they are, and how and this is what we have to deal with. But we were going to talk about it anyway. And Hal was saying that, because I had been saying for years that I don't bother arguing with them because it's a waste of time and it's irritating. What I generally do is I do my show, and of course they're welcome to watch the show and participate if they can behave themselves. Of course, we used to have a Republican that watched the show, and he was around for a long time. I don't know whatever happened to him, but you're welcome as long as you don't abuse people and whatnot. But they don't really have anything to offer. That's for sure. Offer the conversation. They're like, you're children. I'm not standing here saying MAGAts are children, and then that's it. Period. End of sentence. We're bringing the receipts here. I'm not saying that MAGAts are the domestic enemies that the founders warned us about. I'm bringing the receipts. I'm saying, yeah, they're the domestic enemies the founders warned us about. Know them by their fruits. Hold on a second. Here's the music. We'll be right back. And for those on the Substack, and for those who are new to the Tarabuster Friday Night Show, just so you know, the music is just a music cue for me to edit the the Progressive Voices show on... this show is broadcast on Progressive Voices on Sunday, and then they cut it with commercials, so that's what those cues are about. So we don't really go anywhere, but yeah. Okay. What is going on? All right, where is that video I wanted to play? Then we'll go from there. This is a video of Little Mike Maggot Johnson, you know, the real Article 2 guy. Or Article 1. Excuse me. That's what he likes to say. You know me. This is how maggots gaslight. This is how Traitor Trump does it. Wait a minute. Hey, enough. Stop it. I should have put Tara Jr. in the bedroom. It's that time again. Maybe I will when I... because he gets a little sundowny around now, and he starts growling at everybody. He's at the other cats. I think he gets a little, I don't know. You know how it is. Well, we got a sundowner in the White House, so we're aware of this, how it acts. All right, where is it? Where is my... Okay, here is Maggot Mike, Little Mike, as he's apt to be known. But he and what I was saying was that this is the gaslight, and that's how they gaslight us. I'm a real Article 1 guy. You know me. This is what he says to the press while completely abdicating his role as a co-equal branch of government, or his, the Congress itself, turning it into an appendage of the affairs of this absolutely unfit, traitorous, treasonous baboon. No, Maggot Mike, you're not an Article 1 guy. You're not a real Article 1 guy. You're pathetic. You are the gravedigger of American democracy, just like Mitch McConnell, like Moscow Mitch McConnell. Christopher Browning, World War II historian, said that when the future is written, I mean, God, when the historians of the future look back, they will say that Moscow Mitch McConnell and Maggot Mike Johnson were the gravediggers of American democracy. You see? You have to, in order for the systems not to break, you have to stand up to the wannabe dictator, to the treasonous baboon who is unfit to lead a drunken conga line, much less a modern nation. And I've been thinking a lot about Traitor Trump, unfortunately. But he wants to be a dictator because he is unfit, you see. It takes skill. It takes a person who can actually make deals and be an adult and win people to your side and get them to vote how you want or whatever you want to pass legislation. It actually takes somebody with all of the skills that Traitor Trump can only pretend to possess. So that's why he wants to be a dictator, because he's fucking lazy. He's lazy and he's stupid. And he's a dullard, just like he paid people to take his tests when he was in school, and to not just take the test, but to sit in his courses when his father and mother paid for the best education money can buy. He likes to brag about how he went to the best schools. Well, no, he didn't. He got a diploma from the best schools because his parents paid the tuition, but he paid people to take his tests, to sit in the lectures, to do his assignments. He never learned a fucking thing. He cheated himself, but he doesn't realize that because he is an unfit waste of human DNA. You only cheat yourself. That's why he doesn't know when to use Y-O-U apostrophe R-E and Y-O-U-R. How do you come out of the best institutions, the best higher education institutions, and not know where to put a fucking apostrophe. Because you're a goddamn baboon. I'm writing a no offense to baboons. I have to excuse me. I'm sorry, baboons. I don't mean to denigrate you by associating you with a con man, with an absolute vile con man, sexual predator, waste of life. Nothing. There's no more useless waste of life that has had everything handed to him, but it's never enough. It's still, everybody, it's so unfair to him, right? We got to listen to him beg and whine and pine for a fucking Nobel Peace Prize when he's disqualified. I don't know that Nobel Peace Prize wannabes dropped 580 bombs in the first 7 months of his shitty presidency from hell. Oh, how about setting the world up for needless suffering and death? Well, how about sending a mob of traitors and dupes to defecate and urinate in the halls of the Capitol? And then pardoning said dupes so they can go on and be your Praetorian pedo-protecting guards, right? How about palling around with Jeffrey fucking Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, two serial rapists of children? These people are sick. All right, let's get to... They are sick, and I'm sick of it. Anybody else sick of it? I'm pretty sick of it. Right? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Anybody else? All right, here we go. Here's Maggot Mike, the real Article 1 guy, going on about how, with the latest mass shooting. All right.
Incredible to me that Jen Psaki and Gavin Newsom and others would attack religion, diminish the faith of millions of Americans at a time of such great tragedy. There are a lot of common sense solutions, things that can be done to protect children at schools and in churches that do not involve taking away the constitutional rights of law-abiding American citizens. This is not a time to politicize these issues. We mourn for the families, the community that's affected there.
You don't.
I don't know if you saw, I'm sure you guys saw the father's remarks yesterday for that little boy who was lost. Fletcher Merkel.
Lost.
Just, it's such a heart-wrenching thing for all of us.
He's not lost. He wasn't lost. He was murdered in church. And for those who are just tuning in, this is Maggot Mike Johnson, the real Article 1 guy, deflecting from the blood on every Republican's hands of all the needless death and suffering that Republican policies cause. That instead of talking about the policies that created yet another mass shooting in the United States, Maggot Mike, the real Article 1 guy, wants to talk about that everyone who says thoughts and prayers aren't enough, they're mocking prayers. You see, that's the new straw man. Nobody's mocking prayers, you fucking feckless waste of life. See how they do that? So instead of talking about, well, first of all, they were giddy as kids on Christmas morning when they found out that the shooter was identified as trans. Oh, they were happy as shit. In fact, I saw a clip, I should have grabbed it, of one of these maggots where one of his fellow maggots had to talk him down because he was acting so excited about it. And he had to remind the other maggot that we're dealing with the death of children here. So don't be so happy. Don't be so giddy about it. Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, they didn't say anything how this fucking murderer identified as is incidental. He was a gun nut, somebody who had his mind poisoned on all the dark corners of the internet sewer, not the superhighway, the sewer that attaches to the superhighway, where MAGAts like to congregate. So, a very twisted person that had access to guns and collected guns. And that seems to be the common denominator for mass shooters, not that they're trans. And frankly, you gotta wonder, though, I'm surprised there aren't more trans shooters, given the fact that how Republicans relentlessly torment them, the entire community, trying to symbolically annihilate them and literally annihilate them. Trying to get them, just completely eliminate them from public life, just like the Nazis did. If it acts like a Nazi, it's a Nazi. And legislates like a Nazi, what else is it? Right? So give me a break, maggots, the straw man argument, because Jen Psaki said that thoughts and prayers are not enough. So did the mayor, the Minneapolis mayor, and everyone else who says thoughts and prayers are not enough. Now we're going to have to hear the faux rage of the fascists who cry and whine and bitch that, oh, they're mocking our faith. If only you were Christian, maggots, if only you were the Christians you pretend to be. If only you were as Christ-loving as you pretend to be. Another family or two families wouldn't now be preparing to bury their children. There's no bottom too low for this Republican death cult. They have no interest in solving America's problems and the problems that they cause. Let's not get distracted here. We had another mass shooting yesterday because of Republican policies, not because of a trans person. And they say it's trans people, it's mental illness. They don't do shit about mental illness either. In fact, whenever we try to make sure that people can get health care, they block it. They rip health care from millions of Americans. I just wrote an article on my Substack, on the Political Voices Substack, about how I should have put this on the list of things to talk about too. That the corporate media isn't reporting how the what do you call it? Wait, hold on a second. The Republicans are in court right now trying to undo Obamacare, death by 1,000 cuts. They're passing these rules, so-called rules, because they can't get it through Congress. You see, they tried in the last maladministration. Traitor Trump and his MAGAt minions tried to overthrow Obamacare, throwing, everyone. No, it's the big ugly bill throws $17 million off their health care. And and hospitals are already closing all around the country. But they tried to pass this rule, that's what they're calling it, in the ACA, called the Marketplace Integrity and Affordability Rule. Well, who doesn't like integrity and affordability? But that is another poison pill disguised in very innocuous language to kill Obamacare. That would immediately kick 2.2 million more Americans off of their health insurance. And thankfully, at this time, the judge saw through the dirty tricks and put a pause on it. It doesn't mean it's over, because Republicans will never stop. This is what they do. The small government, the Article 1 guys, the small government guys. They want to weaken everything that makes America great, everything that Americans rely on. Oh, they hate government, right? But they don't mind putting up all these bureaucratic barriers stopping people that will stop people, 2.2 million to be exact, from accessing health insurance so they can go to a doctor when sick. See, this is a very sick country, not because we are filled with sick people, because Republicans are in charge. And that's a very sick, it's sick by extension. Republicans don't want to have a country that promotes the general welfare. They want the general welfare of one giant baboon and themselves. They couldn't give a shit about anybody else. You know, if only they were Christian. You know what I mean? Real Christians. Because we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't we wouldn't be talking about this right now. We wouldn't be fighting a fascist coup. And I'm sick of it. I really am. And we are sick from it. We're sick from them. They are sick. And that's what I'm talking about when I say that that America's just too decent for them. That's why when they say, oh, they hate government, they're talking about democracy. That's what they're talking about. Government sucks. Government, drown it, kick it, make it die, right? Shove it in a bathtub. Shrink it till you can drown it in a bathtub. Like what? A burlap sack of kittens, you fucking freaks? That's how they think. Why don't you shoot it in the face like Cricket, the dog? These people are sick. Don't get me going. But to feign this outrage about prayers, that's all they have. Just like when their Republican policies killed those teenagers in Texas. Because they, defunded the early warning weather system. And those young people at the summer camp didn't stand a chance. Thanks to Republican policies, thanks to the Doge that's cost Americans billions of dollars and did nothing but fuck shit up. That's all they know how to do is destroy. Republicans never build. Can you give me an example of them building something, creating, making, life good for people? Right? Whoops. I would love to know if we're missing something, if that Republicans have seen the light and they've done something to make life better for somebody somewhere. Let us know. I'd like to talk about it. Because I'm not up here talking about Republicans just because, Republicans? But when you diagnose a problem, then you need to address that problem. So, politics. Well, if they did something good, let's hear about it. But they're the problem. They don't want to have a functioning multiracial liberal democracy as we see. Prove me wrong. That's how racist they are. That's how small they are. The founders had a lot of faith in us. And I know, for all their hypocrisies, they never lived up to their own, their own blueprint. Of course not. But the closer we get to doing so, Republicans would rather throw out the entire experiment in liberal democracy. So that's their stance, as we saw on January 6th. See, we can't have a country that works for all. Well, forget it. They can only take democracy up to the point. up to a point. When it's Jim Crow, and when they can ensure that straight acting white men, rich white men, are in power and everybody else is in their little hierarchies, then they can handle it. But when you see, wait a minute, women want a seat at the table? And what, gay people now? What? Trans people? What? Everyone else who's not a straight white man wants a seat at the table? How dare this? How dare they? And anytime you ask a so-called master of the universe to move over a little bit, make some room, they fucking lose their shit. And, these MAGAts, I guess, I don't know what it is. I'll have to think about this more. Because I like studying the Trumpanzees like Jane Goodall studied the apes, but they're not even that as complex as the apes. Really. They are racist. I mean, that's why, okay, you know what, let's finish this, and then maybe later on we can finish up by perusing the leopards eating our faces, or what is it, leopard eating my face? Yeah. Whatever, you know what I mean. The leopards eating my face Reddit page, which I love. All right, where is let's continue with Maggot Mike.
And at the end of the day, the problem is not guns, okay, Jen Psaki? The problem is the human heart.
Oh, fuck
it's
you.
Mental health. There are things that we can do, solutions
It's the human heart, not guns. Not that the human heart that's mentally ill can get a lot of guns. Oh, God, these people. And if the problem is the human heart, then what is your excuse, Maggot Mike? Because you have no heart. And that's why, that there's something wrong with these people. They're sociopaths. Clearly, Maggot Mike and Traitor Trump. Traitor Trump's a sociopath. So is, what's her face? The killer, the dog killer, Kristi Noem. They're all sociopaths. Fucking J.D. Vance, another one. And that's why they're attracted to the Republican Party. J.D. Vance is the biggest phony going. And you want to talk about a kid giddy as giddy as a kid on Christmas Eve. He knows Traitor Trump's dying of congestive heart failure. We saw the signs. We're seeing it right before our beautiful eyes. And our saving grace is that J.D. Vance is not very popular. Everybody hates him. I don't know. All right, let's not go down that rabbit hole for now. But I saw a picture of Queen Elizabeth II. You might have seen it. And it was taken 2 days before her death. And she had that same bruise on her hand as Traitor Trump. And, she died of, I guess, congestive heart failure. Traitor Trump is not that well. I don't know if you've seen, he can't even walk a straight line. What's that about? What symptom is that? Right. Exactly, Redfoot on the chat. So the human heart maybe shouldn't fucking have guns? Exactly. See, the human hearts, there are human hearts all over the world, but no other place has this problem except here in America. We're supposed to be so Christian, and that's the irony that the maggots are exploiting or deflecting from and throwing up their straw hands. I mean, their straw man with their bloody hands. That we're mocking faith, because people are pointing out that these are children that were literally praying. So maybe thoughts and prayers aren't enough, and that's why nobody elected you, maggots, for your thoughts and prayers. Right? If they want thoughts and prayers, they go to a priest. Nobody elected you for your thoughts and prayers. So why don't you do what you were elected to do and pass some legislation that actually help people. But they don't. That's the other thing. Republicans don't help people. The only remedy for our problems, for the problems that America faces, is to make the Republican Party a permanent minority party. That's it. They're not meant to be a majority party. As we see, they can't handle democracy. They don't like it. They don't like America. They don't like, and that's why Traitor Trump's like, oh, a lot of people want a dictator. Who the fuck are these people? I could tell you, they're in the Republican Party. Who's telling you this, maggot, your Traitor Trump? Who's telling him this? A lot of people say they want a dictator. I don't want to be a dictator. No, you do, because you're lazy. You are incapable of being a president. So of course you want to be a dictator, because being a president takes skill. It takes heart. It takes a level of decency. That's what the founders hoped for. They didn't. How could they have ever imagined that the American people would be so stupid to elect somebody who is that corrupt, that openly corrupt, that openly vile, that openly juvenile? They didn't think, how much do you have to hate yourself? But it's not that. It's how much do you hate other people? That's the problem. See, this is why we don't have universal health care in this country. Because of Republicans. They hate other people. That's why they screamed and yelled and all about. I remember at when we were all that fucking Obamacare debates. No debates. It was MAGAts who were called teabaggers at the time, screaming in town hall meetings, disrupting town hall meetings. This is all they know how to do. Scream and yell and fart and moan and like fucking disrupt shit. Yeah, scream. Remember that? Screaming and yelling. Get your government hands off my Medicare. Like the idiots they are. So, okay, for my whole life, it's so tedious. I know, and Suzanne on the chat, I hear you. She writes, I'm exhausted from this. I hear you. I'm exhausted from the whole thing. We're all exhausted. It's coming from all sides. It never stops, and that's why we have to be really making a list and fuck checking it twice. But when when we get rid of these maggots legally and peacefully and shove them into history's trash bin, where all fascists eventually end up, we got a lot of restoring to do, and we have to do it without apology. We have a lot of rebuilding and making sure that no baboon can ever drag this country down to his level again. Below his level. I mean, what an embarrassment. And now that I said that, I wonder, well, I guess it's not them being embarrassed, because I was thinking what Hal Sparks said, how they can't be shamed, but they can be embarrassed. And then when I said, what an embarrassment, I thought, well, they can't be embarrassed either. But it's like, they're not being embarrassed. I'm being embarrassed. So I am embarrassed for the country. And, you know, when I think about them going around the cabinet meeting, licking that fucking unfit con man's ass, you have to wonder, don't you have any dignity? And they don't. Do they really believe that shit that they're saying? Or are they that devoid of any kind of self-respect? Are they devoid of decency? Is it, what are they getting out of it? Is the power to, like Kristi Noem, I guess, because you're a sociopath, Kristi Noem. She is a sociopath. Nobody does that to an animal without being a sociopath. and then writes about it in a book, like you're making the strong decisions. I had to make the hard decision of shooting my puppy in the head, which is another example of how unfit they are and how much they're not strong. Because guess what? Fucking Kristi Noem, you bitch. That's the weakest thing you could have done. The laziest thing. The easy thing was to take the dog to a gravel pit and murder it. What the hard thing would have been, the inconvenient thing would have been being an adult. Either you train the dog to be the hunter dog you want it to be, because, you know, she was out there trying to kill other creatures, and the living creature, the dog, puppy, that was not even, I think, a little over a year old, which is still a puppy. So it was out there playing because it thought, hey, we're out here having a good time. And the bitch dragged it to a gravel pit because it wasn't, I guess, flushing out the other creatures she wanted to kill. For fun. Ain't that fun? Haha. Wee! Fucking sick. So, it's not the tough decision, bitch. It's a very lazy, weak ass decision. What the hard thing would be was take is inconvenience yourself, maybe. You know, get the dog a decent home. Fucking, I hate these maggots. Legally and peacefully, I hate them.
That we can come together to handle, but this is not the time.
This is not the time.
Things that we can do.
Anybody sick of it yet? This is not the time. They're mocking our thoughts and prayers now. How did we know that we were going to get here? I knew we were going to get here eventually, where they would be whining about how we're mocking their thoughts and prayers, right? They're always the victims, maggots. These disingenuous, blood-soaked ghouls. They're always the victims, aren't they? Everyone's always picking on them. What, you think my thoughts and prayers are not enough? You're mocking the power of my God, of my sky spook? No, we're mocking you. We're mocking you. And not just mocking, we're sick of you. You just killed 2 more kids. And you sentenced another, I don't know, how many were hurt? 17 or something like that? To a lifetime of GoFundMe campaigns. Because in this fucked up country, when you get shot in one of the uniquely American gun massacres, then you have to spend the rest of your life begging for medical care on GoFundMe. And that's why, maggots, you will never, there's no decent Republicans left, okay? There's none of them. We don't need the Republican Party. We don't need, there's no taking back your party, Republicans. It's done. We need to shove this maggot, this entire death cult into history's trash bin. They're unfit. And we're all paying the price. And more families just paid the price. It's a trans shooter, though, right? What's the problem is that they got guns. But anything to ensure that the blood continues to flow.
Solutions that we can come together to handle, but this is not the time to be.
Do you think specifically that there has to be some sort of accountability on the transgender front?
I think so. I mean, there's a common denominator.
How dare you? On the accountability on the transgender front, but not for the party of personal responsibility. What's fucking common denominator on the transgender front? The only common denominator is that Republicans conflate mass shootings with anything but themselves. Anything but the actual perpetrators. They're the perpetrators, ultimately. They're the ones that wrote the policies, that take the checks, that the NRA cuts for them. They're the ones that stand in the breach, that stand athwart history yelling stop, while every sane American wants effective gun control. Fuck that. Gun control. Nobody needs an assault weapon. Common sense gun reform. You know what? You don't need an assault weapon for home defense. Nobody needs that. Where do you live? This is not The Walking Dead. And the problem is, what we know from all of these mass shooters is that they love guns. And they love other shooters, right? So there are red flags. Republicans don't even like the red flag laws. They just want to vilify less than 1% of the population, who are statistically more, what do you call it? They are statistically the victims of violence than they are the perpetrators of violence. So Republicans don't care as long as they can keep the blood going. We're going to have to come to the point. It's not, because you got to wonder where, because I often think, like, what's in it for them? Like I was just saying. And, is it really, is money is that really the trade-off? For your decency, for your dignity? As I'm just assuming that you had some decency or dignity somewhere in there. Is that the price you're willing to pay? Is you got a little money so you'll continue to let the children die? You fucking freaks. And what about the kids? That there's that footage of this young man, a 9-year-old, going around, and he's discussing how his friend got on top of him and saved him from the bullet, and he got hit, and they were like, oh, you're so brave, and you're so brave. Why does he have to be brave? What, now this kid is traumatized for the rest of his life? We are a very sick culture, and this is a problem. This country's fucked up, but we're fucked up. We're fucked from Republicans. We're fucked up because they're fucked up and they have power. And how much longer are we going to take it? Really? How much longer? We should all be ashamed. And I'm frankly sick of it. I'm sick of MAGAts. I'm sick of the saying these MAGAts going on about how responsible gun owners, like, go fuck yourself, responsible gun owners. You don't need an assault weapon. Nobody, unless you're in the military, and even when you're in the military, that's why it's such a disgrace that this fucking Pete Hegseth has the National Guard walking around with assault weapons in Washington, D.C. like we're a failed state. Well, I guess we are, with MAGAts in control. Because when you're in the military, when you're walking around on bases, you're not walking around with your assault weapon. And I wondered if they are, if they're armed. I mean, if they're loaded. That's the other thing. I'm wondering if they're just walking around with assault weapons, but not their magazines. That's very highly controlled. Even when you have your weapon, when you're in the military and you have to drill with your weapons, you're not walking around with ammunition. You don't have access to it. So it just makes me wonder. But this is Pete Hegseth, though, so I wouldn't put it past him. They want more debt, you see. Republicans are not happy unless Americans are dying in some form, needlessly dying. Think about it. Measles is up. All kind of death by despair is up. They want people dead. We got fucking flesh-eating virus in the country. Wait till COVID. Wait till the flu gets a hold of us, thanks to this maggot destruction of science and the CDC. They're not happy unless Americans are dying, and we better. I'm so sick of it. I really am. I really want to secede. I was reading an article. Maybe we could talk about that. about soft secession. Yes, I see. Thank you. I know. I keep reading what they're writing. Thank you for being moderators, guys, Redfoot and Jim. The problem is people like you complain and blame. Yes, that's me. Just complaining and blaming. That's all we do. Not MAGAts, though, right? Who do nothing but bitch and moan and point fingers at less than 1% of the population and do absolutely nothing but keep the blood going. It's not complaining. It's only complaining when the MAGAts think, oh, they're telling the truth about us, about how useless we are.
There's so much of this, right? The last one of these school shootings that we all saw and remember was another transgender. I mean, this is a mental health component to this that cannot be overlooked, and I think lawmakers and policymakers need to look at that very carefully.
Gavin Newsom decided to throw a tweet up yesterday that's getting a whole lot of attention, essentially implying that prayer doesn't work. He said, quote, these children were literally praying as they got shot at, and that was in response to a clip of Caroline Leavitt saying that people should believe in the power of prayer. That now has almost 7 million views online, and it has enraged conservatives. Your thoughts?
It should enrage conservatives. Gavin Newsom is ridiculous. He's become a caricature of something.
It should it has enraged conservatives, not the dead children, right? That doesn't enrage conservatives. Anybody comes for their guns, for their assault weapons, that enrages conservatives. But they don't get enraged about the dead children. And that's not what Gavin Newsom said. But it doesn't matter because it's disingenuous. These are disingenuous deflections, and that's all Republicans have. They're pointing out the uselessness of thoughts and prayers when we need policy. That's it. Oh, it's enraged the fake Christians. They don't get enraged about Americans needlessly dying, right? They're not enraged about Republican policies that ensure that people can't get health care, can't get mental health care, but have really easy access to guns. You have any mentally ill person can get a gun. You can get an assault weapon easier than you can get mental health treatment. But yes, it enraged. I wish that the conservatives would be enraged about all the other problems that their policies create. Why don't you get enraged about the fact that your God King just kicked 17 million Americans off their health care, and that hospitals are closing? Or how about firing veterans from the Veterans Administration? So when veterans try to get help from the Veterans Administration, they have to go on a runaround or not sign up for services because it's too far. They can't drive as far, or they give up sitting on hold, in the shining city on a hill. You can't get anybody on the fucking phone. Thanks to the MAGAts, who hate America, they hate everything about this country. You cannot call yourself a patriot while you hate everyone in the country. Nobody is fucking saying, and they know this. This is why they're evil, the MAGAts. They know that no one is mocking their prayers. Go pray. If you want to pray, do what the Savior you pretend to worship told you to do, and go pray in your closet. Right? There was no mincing words about that one. He said that, the hypocrites love to pray in the middle of the church or in the public square, so everybody can say, oh, look at how holy they are. But Jesus said, go pray in your closet. Because we know you're full of shit. That's what he said. You're the hypocrites that Jesus warned us about, who don't give a shit about dead kids. I mean, we've been praying since Columbine. Republicans would get off their fucking blood-soaked asses and do something about this. and help us do something about this, I should say, because we have tried and we are trying to pass policies, but it was the Republicans that let the assault weapons ban pass or lapse. Isn't that funny how the proliferation of guns and mass death seems to correspond with the expiration of the assault weapons ban that they let just go fall by the wayside? Oh, well, why didn't Democrats put it back? Well, we tried. You see, we live in a constitutionally limited democratic republic, nation of laws, so we assumed that MAGAts, when they were called teabaggers, would want to join us in stopping the death of children in schools or anybody. Not just children, kids, adults, adolescents, prepubescents, toddlers, the elderly, middle-aged, any fucking body. You can't go to a concert. You can't go to your place of worship, your place of business, your supermarket, anywhere without worrying, am I going to get shot? But that's how MAGAts love it. That's how Republicans love it, because you see, you cannot do this. You can't destroy a democracy in a united country. And they don't want a united country. They don't want people to think of their fellow Americans as their fellow countrymen. They want you to think of everybody like, at each other's throats. They want you to hate your neighbor. Like like those kids who pulled into a driveway by accident and some maggot got out and shot them from afar, from his porch. Or some kid, ding dong, I'm lost, can you help me? Boom, 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 and he fucking gets shot through the door because of these pricks. That's what they want. You can't destroy a country that's unified. That's why Republicans will never, ever try to unify this country. They have no interest in it. They want us to conform. That's what they want. They will never accept the diversity of this country, the decency, the humanity, that's why they say diversity is a weakness. They want us to be the system, and they just want us to live in the dark ages where straight white rich men rule and everybody else knows their place. And if you're gay, if you're trans, if you're anything that is other than straight white and male, you stay in the closet, or you kill yourself, or you conform somehow. You live in a loveless marriage with fucking whatever, some beard that you marry, like J.D. Vance, and then you point your finger around, and like Maggot Mike Johnson. Come on. If everybody who is gay turned purple, Maggot Mike would look like a Teletubby right now, and we know it. His wife ran some kind of gay conversion therapy place. And you look at him. Come on. You think that he and his wife make mad, passionate love? He's like, honey, I cannot wait to ravage you with my manliness. Hold on. Boudica, get down. Booty, come on, girl. What are you doing? She's messing around. Wait a minute. We have to look at Boudica for a second. Okay. Everybody calm down. We needed that for a minute. Oh, God in heaven. Legally and peacefully.
These children were literally praying as they got shot at, and that was in response to a clip of Caroline Leavitt saying that people should believe in the power of prayer. That now has almost 7 million views online, and it has enraged conservatives. Your thoughts?
It should enrage conservatives. Gavin Newsom is...
Enrage everybody. We're enraged by the fact that people are pointing out how useless we are. It's enraging. Well, if your prayers worked, you know, hey, I'd join right in. How about you pray and then take some action? Do your job. Go, and if you don't want to pray, go fuck off. We don't need you as Speaker of the House. Go be a priest. I'm sure your wife will appreciate it. I wonder, you know, when I think about how he has his son monitoring his masturbation habits, I doubt he's, you know, got a problem, really. I mean, his problem is he's gay, okay? They're very sick people, Republicans, and that's why they hate gay people, they hate trans people, because you know, they're living authentic lives, and MAGAts are just not capable of that. So they're cowards, and I mean, there's like it's a toxic mix of all these personality traits that really are unfit ultimately for leadership. So, yes. Mach 7 Radio Intercept says, MAGA Mike does doggy style from the bottom position. That's good. Yes, unfortunately, VD Couchfucker and his wife spawned 2 kids together. Yeah, but that doesn't mean, I mean, they just went through the motions. You know? Do you really think of J.D. Vance? He's another one. Come here, honey. You know, but I can think of him and Peter Thiel, you know, his benefactor. What gay billionaire who is a fascist gives some person, okay, I'm trying to be nice, who wears eyeliner, millions of dollars to fund his entire life, right? And then fund his political career, but you don't fuck that guy? Legally, I mean, not figuratively. I almost said legally and peacefully. I'm legally and peacefully fucking you. No, yeah, no, come on. Nice way, exactly. Twisted, thank you for helping me formulate this thought. Twisted Nerves Painting on the chat. Benefactor is a nice way of saying sugar daddy. Exactly. Hold on. We'll be right back. This is Tara Devlin. Become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Devlin. If you can, kick in some scratch become a Substack. I mean, there's so many ways if you want to keep the show going and growing that you can help little old me. Little old me. Me, Tara Devlin. Oh, that's the other I didn't want to hit that. No, I'm looking for something. Not that. All right. I don't even know where to go. Because I don't know. I'm a little tired right now. I'm looking at the time. I guess I could just finish this and then we could talk about... Because we're going to lose the Progressive Voices audience in a few minutes. So, to start on something new. But, because the other thing is that Caroline Leavitt said, and it was kind of a self-own. I was writing about this before the show. But this is what they're talking about, that Caroline Leavitt said that, you know, they were all faux raged about the prayer thing. What the fuck? Somebody's at the door? That's scary. I'm not answering the door. And so, what was I saying? I hate my bell. I hate that bell. Why can't it be nice? Like, bing, Bing bong. Somebody's here. So, okay, 27-year-old press secretary to the worst president in American history. She responded to the most recent gun massacre by saying that there are demonic forces that's what caused the latest gun massacre. And I thought, yeah, well, she's right. She's kind of like a cell phone, but I mean, she is correct, but not in the way she intends. The demonic forces responsible are they're not superficial, or what do you call it, supernatural specters. They're the Republican Party. That's the demonic forces. Yeah, thank you, Caroline. You're right. So it's not coming out from some, supernatural event. This ain't poltergeist. This is a uniquely American problem. And thoughts and prayers are useless. I'm sorry. You could pray, but I don't think that even... Hold on. Let me just play this, because somebody's knocking on my door.
It's ridiculous. He's become incredible to me that Jen Psaki and Gavin Newsom and others would attack religion, diminish the faith of millions of Americans at a time of such great tragedy. There are a lot of common sense solutions, things that can be done to protect children at schools and in churches that do not involve taking away the constitutional rights of law-abiding American citizens. This is not a time to politicize these issues. We mourn for the families, the community that's affected there. I don't know if you saw, I'm sure you guys saw the father's remarks yesterday for that little boy who was lost. Fletcher Merkel. It's such a heart-wrenching thing for all of us. And at the end of the day, the problem is not guns, okay, Jen Psaki? The problem is the human heart. It's mental health. There are things that we can do, solutions that we can come together to handle, but this is not the time to be.
Do you think specifically that there has to be some sort of accountability on the transgender front?
All right.
I think so. I mean, there's a common denominator to so much of.
I am back. Hold on a second. What time we got here? All right. 1 second, guys. Wait. All right. I'm just looking at the time, because we're going to lose the political voice. I mean, the progressive voices part of the show. There's somebody at my door, but it wasn't for me. Wrong apartment.
Sir, as we've said very often, economic security is national security, and our country has never been so secure thanks to you.
Thank you, sir. As we approach Labor Day weekend here, this is just such a great opportunity really to recognize your leadership as a true champion for working people.
Well, Mr. President, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to work for you. You made this country safe. You opened up the economy. You enforced the law. Now people can get up and provide for their families and go to work every day and be confident in that.
Mr. President, I invite you to see your big, beautiful face on a banner in front of the Department of Labor, because you are really the transformational president of the American worker.
Thank you for saving college football, by the way. We're all very grateful. The country just feels different.
You are going to save the whales on the East Coast because of this.
And
there's only one thing I wish for, that Noble Committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the Nobel Peace, this Nobel Award was ever talked about, to receive that reward.
Mr. President, it's pretty great to celebrate Labor Day with a builder who loves labor, who loves the men and women who have built this country, the people that sweat, that have great skills.
This is the greatest cabinet working for the greatest president, and I just want to say thank you. I'm having the time of my life working for you, Mr. President.
Wow.
I'm having the time of my life.
I didn't want to play that. Them too. I generally don't watch Morning Joe anymore. because they've actually been incredibly sycophantic, and it's been difficult to watch. They're the ones that were going after Gavin Newsom, saying how he's stooping to Traitor Trump's level, when it's driving maggots crazy what Gavin Newsom is doing, but he's not stooping to Traitor Trump's level. He's pointing out who they are. He's holding a mirror up to the maggots, and by that, he's nullifying them. It's sort of like he's canceling them out. He's showing them who they are. So I appreciate that. But the fact that when I was watching that cabinet meeting, I thought, do they understand that we can all see them? We can all, this is being broadcast all over the world. People can see them. People can hear them. And what are they getting out of it? What do they get in return besides the loss of their dignity, the loss of their decency? If they ever had any. I guess if you had any dignity or decency, you wouldn't be in the maggot cabinet. Right. Oh, Mr. President. And that's the other thing that's so fucking annoying, is that they call it the Nobel Peace Prize. Do they understand that it's not the Nobel Peace Prize? That it's named after a person, not the quality of being noble, which is not anywhere near the quality of Traitor Trump. Traitor Trump is not noble. He's not literally noble, or is not even the definition of noble. Noble is a characteristic. Let's see how it's defined. Define noble. That noble, and I'm actually writing an article about that. About Traitor Trump is not just begging for a Nobel Peace Prize when he's he's completely disqualified. For one thing, he's dropped 530 bombs in his first 6 months in office. Let's put it mildly. That would be a disqualified. That's not really a man of peace. What kind of a man of peace slashes $60 billion in foreign aid that cripples vaccine campaigns and health centers and medicine distribution programs all over the globe, leading to 14 million preventable deaths by 2030? That's a man of peace. That deserves a prize, not the Peace Prize. That the only prize that man deserves is a dock at The Hague. All right, guys, that's the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show, but it's not the end of the show. We have more show. We will win. So come on over to youtube.com/cfachannel/Tarabuster or the Political Voices Substack. And remember, we're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together, we win. My name is Tara Devlin. I will see you soon. Hold on. Be right back. Yeah, thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. You're the best. You are the best. All right, guys, if you're on the Substack, remember to, if you can, like and share this show, and also follow the YouTube channel too, all right? I know, I mean, there's so much shit to do. I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry. All right, so that was a good way, because let me get my thoughts together. We are, I am writing an article about how Traitor Trump is disqualified for Nobel Peace Prize on many levels, including the fact that he's canceled all kinds of health care for people around the world, leading to, now he's, and according to the Lancet, I'm just reading this statistic here, 14 million preventable deaths by 2030, a third of them children. Well, I would think that doesn't make you a man of peace. On top of all the other fake wars that he says that he ended, he doesn't have the patience or the skill to end a war. He's a baboon. I mean, his idea of diplomacy is typing in all caps. That's it. He is beneath the dignity of America. We don't have to stoop to their level. They have to drag us down to theirs, though. His disqualifications are too numerous, really, to count. If you want to think peace begins at home, Traitor Trump is the architect of chaos. He's the only president in American history to actively incite a mob to stop the peaceful transfer of power. And this is what really pisses me off, because he shattered centuries-old tradition based on nothing but his lies. So for all those years, this is what we should all be ashamed, that for our 250th anniversary, this absolute unfit traitor is going to preside over the festivities when he hates this country. And he proved it on January 6th, which is a disqualification for a Nobel Peace Prize. Turning the military against your people? He uses the National Guard in American cities. And as somebody who actually served in the National Guard, I find it offensive, the way he treats people. Like they're nothing. They're pawns. He is disrupting their lives. But not for no good reason. Not that there's a crisis. There are no crises except the ones that he's causing. When you're in the National Guard, you don't mind being activated for actual duty, for actual purposes that you could help your community and your country. I know that's a whole philosophy that's anathema to MAGAts. Helping your country and your community. Oh, no. You only help yourselves. I understand that, MAGAts. But turning the National Guard, he has no respect for the military. Let's just get that out there. We know that. He has absolutely no respect. Not only did he never serve because of his fucking feet he's hurt, but he's a draft dodger and tax cheat. Your taxes, you pay your taxes to you're paying for body armor, for things that protect the equipment that the troops, the military needs. He doesn't give a shit. Oh, well, he says that makes him smart. And shame on you for voting for him. If you voted for him, shame on you. So, whoops. Shame on you. I will never forgive and I will never forget. If you voted for that baboon, you should be embarrassed. You should absolutely be embarrassed. If you have the ability to be embarrassed, I doubt it since you voted for somebody like that. Who is could you imagine a child whining like that? I want an award. Imagine a fucking child. Yeah, I did this. You didn't. But I did it. I swear. You would discipline your child. You know, if they behave like that. No, you don't get awards just because you want one. And no, nobody's picking on you. If your child acted like that overgrown freak squatting in the White House, staining it with his cankles, you would get them health care, mental health care. You know, you would be like, wow, my child is going to turn into like a sociopath. So, oh God, what did we do? Well, I know what we did. When I asked that question to the universe, what did we do to deserve this? What karma? What we did was we never finished Reconstruction. We never finished the work of Reconstruction. And through our history, we have let the conservatives off the hook. You know? Throughout history of our country, when the conservatives took up arms against their fellows, when General Lee betrayed his oath, he should have been executed. That's what should have happened. And Alexander Stevens, Jefferson Davis, they should have been put in prison for the rest of their lives. You know what happened? Alexander Stevens, he became a senator. Can you fucking believe that shit? Where in the Senate, he did his evil, dirty work, just like he did as the vice president of the Confederacy. So, that's the problem here. We said to the conservatives, go home and sin no more. And that was good enough. But, you know, it really is, because that was the first problem. But then, of course, when Lincoln was assassinated, that was the end of Reconstruction, effectively. It would have, because of Johnson. That's your team of rivals. You don't need a fucking team. Who needs a team of rivals? You know? You need people who are working on the same goal, not a saboteur. And, yeah, anyway. But, you know, what's his name? The other one. Not Jefferson Davis. Yeah, Jefferson Davis, right? He became a circuit speaker, going around and spewing his poison in the South. So, we have been entirely too kind to conservative traitors. We've never made them atone. And look at what happened after January 6th. So, and that's why, well, I guess this is a perfect segue into the fact, another outrage, that the traitor Ashli Babbitt, the insurrectionist, is now going to get military honors. You know, she's a very sad person, of course, Ashli Babbitt, because she was a dupe of a con man. She believed a con man's lies. And she's not a hero, Ashli Babbitt. She was an unhinged QAnon conspiracist, truly, who was not exactly somebody that people really liked to be around when she was a civilian. She served in the military, not, she was not some kind of great soldier, but she was very susceptible to stupidity. But her civilian life involved legal, financial, and behavioral incidences, including, she was criminally charged for reckless endangerment after ramming her SUV into a car driven by a former girlfriend of her husband's. Could you fucking believe that? That is somebody that is not well. You drive your SUV into a car driven by your husband's ex-girlfriend. And she's no martyr, but she is the Hearst vessel of today's right wing, of the MAGAts. They try to make her into a martyr. And for those who don't know, let's see, hold on. I'm trying to find this video. You want to see who Ashli Babbitt is? All I have to do is let me warn you, if you're listening with headphones or somewhere, just lower the headphones a little bit.
Is everybody? Huh? You got where is Kamala? Where is Kamala? Talking about ISIS like KKK. We got this migrant caravan. You know what? We have thousands of people on the other side of the border. You people can't get to work. Our economy is going to take an absolute tank because you guys refuse to choose America over your stupid political party. Well, I am so tired of it. You try to make it with these wide-angle lenses, and you try to make it that your echo chambers have these large followings. You got 40 people showing up, and you want to do a headline with CNN talking about, oh, we got massive protests for Trump shutting the borders. No, we do not. No, we do not. What we do have is a massive amount of pissed off people like I am because you guys will not sit down and do your jobs. I am so sick of these politicians in this goddamn state. I can't take it anymore. They're all worried about what Trump is doing. How about we worry about what the hell you're doing? What have you done? Maxine Waters, what have you done? You're talking about, oh, this thing on the border is a political ploy that Trump's done. Where are you? You're not even here. You're talking all this crap up north in your district. Why don't you worry about your own goddamn district and the shit that's going on there? You are a complete... I'm telling you right now, I'm putting all you on notice. Every single one of you politicians in California, Gavin Newsom, Jerry Brown, Maxine Waters, Duncan Hunter, what the hell are you doing? Duncan Hunter, where
she fucked up? What a sick bitch. That's not a... This is not a martyr. Well, she is Hearst vessel. That's for sure. And who is Hearst vessel? Hold on. Wait a second. Well, that's Hearst vessel was the Nazis' Ashli Babbitt. Well, yes, he was Hearst vessel. That's how you pronounce it. Was a German Nazi Party activist, so-called, an early adopter of the Nazi movement, an SA stormtrooper who was killed in a street fight with communists. So he was a real piece of shit. Someone who, who is an early adopter of the Nazi movement, and the Nazis gave a lot of losers, like the likes of Ashli Babbitt and the MAGAts. Similarly, the 20th century Nazis gave these losers a home. And because he got killed in this street fight under very disputed and suspicious circumstances, he was elevated by the Nazi propagandists as a martyr. And they gave him, they made him, his grave a place of honor. And it became, the song, Hearst Vessel Lied, became the anthem. It is adopted as the Nazi Germany anthem. And a rallying cry. So, yeah, so similarly, we have Ashli Babbitt, U.S. Air Force veteran. She was a far-right extremist and a QAnon moron who was killed on January 6th because she believed the lies of traitor Trump. Where is that? Here it is.
Mr. 50, give me a DSO team! DSO team!
A Trump supporter from Pennsylvania punches in the glass panels with his bare fists.
See these assholes?
Police are stretched extremely thin. Just 3 officers and a security staffer stand guard. None are wearing riot gear, and they keep their weapons holstered. When a team of heavily armed police now arrives, the 3 officers step aside.
Go! Let's go! Get this shit!
This creates a crucial gap that allows rioters to smash in the glass. A warning, what happens next is graphic. It's 2:44 p.m. and behind the door, a police officer draws his handgun.
There's a gun! There's a gun!
Babbitt vaults into the window, and the officer shoots her once. It's a fatal wound through the upper chest. Inside the chamber, the floor is clear, but lawmakers in the balcony are sheltering in place.
Everybody stay down! Get down!
Yeah. The fuck?
Take your pins off.
Pins off.
They now remove the breast pins that identify them as members of Congress.
Do you believe this? Well, that's Ashli Babbitt. That's how she was killed. She didn't comply, right? MAGAts are always like, why didn't they comply? Why didn't they listen to orders? Why didn't they follow orders? Well, she's, a poor sucker dupe of this con man, and not a very well person. She's not a hero. She should be pitied. And the fact that the Republicans, and here's what happened. So the Air Force will provide traitor Ashli Babbitt with military funeral honors, reversing this Biden-era decision that denied her family's request. Judicial Watch, that swill of a right-wing group that went to bat for her, for the traitors. See how much they fight for traitors? Not so much for kids who are praying at church, right? Not so much for kids in schools or anywhere in this madhouse. But Pete Hegseth, who is himself a traitor and an unfit kook, who, if not for white man affirmative action, would not have his job. That's for sure. He's completely unfit. Could you imagine if a female, all those female officers that they fired, and officers that happen to have darker pigment that Traitor Trump fired, could you imagine? None of them added a journalist to a non-secure signal chat and spread war plans. None of them use unsecure phones and apps to talk about top secret missions and whatnot, except that this is what we're dealing with now. Fucking amateur hour. So Judicial Watch, this swill of a group, wrote to the filthy DUI hire Hegseth, saying, I'm writing to, let's see, I could put this up on the screen. I am writing to urge you to make a new determination granting military funeral honors for SRA. I don't know. I'm not a Air Force, so I don't know that rank. I think she was a nothing, but whatever. AKA Ashli Elizabeth McKean, Ashli Elizabeth Babbitt, a war on terror veteran and U.S. Air Force and Air National Guard. Ashli Babbitt was fatally shot in the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. But these are the same scums who will not install the monument to the Capitol Police officers. They are in direct violation of a law right now. MAGAT Mike Johnson has yet to put this monument up, this plaque. He still refuses to display the plaque for the officers who fought on the front lines against Ashli Babbitt as she and her fellow traitors tried to stop the peaceful transfer of power because of a baboon who lost the election and wasn't man enough to accept the peaceful transfer of power that was good enough for George Washington, but not for traitor Trump. That's what pisses me off. And how dare you? Every single maggot, every moron that voted for Trump, you should all be ashamed. I will not forgive. I will not forget. And neither will the rest of the patriots in this country. You should all be ashamed. Shame on you. Really? I mean, if only they worked this hard to actually make America great. Now, what does this serve? Ashli Babbitt is a traitor. She was a traitor. She lost her life because she believed the lies of a con man. She's no one to emulate. She doesn't deserve military honors. In fact, she got what she deserves on January 6th. That's for sure. She is a disgrace. She was a disgrace to the uniform. She's like, it's sort of like giving it. Why don't you just give all the traitors props? That's what the MAGAts do. They want military bases named after traitors. They want to put back statues, erect statues to these traitors. If it acts like a traitor and quacks like a traitor, it's a fucking traitor, and they're all traitors. They're traitors. These people. You voted for a traitor. Why? Oh, you just don't like black people? You don't like trans people? Scum. And I was on the, let's see, it's Reddit page. Because I was looking at, I was like, what do people in the military currently think of this? And to my relief, they were outraged. I was on the I just was looking at the Air Force Reddit page. Let me see. Trying to find it. How dare they honor her, Here it goes. Here we go. This is in the military Reddit page. Air Force grants honors to insurrectionist. Hold on a sec. While denying trans troops retirement benefits. That's how scummy these MAGAts are. You see? Aren't they fucking disgraceful? So here's some of the comments from the people who served. She's killed during an insurrection attempt. The court actually pays her family $5 million, and the president pardons her and all the other rioters. And now this? What the fuck is going on here? That's what a military veteran says. Bad guys won. All that is needed for evil to prevail is for good people to do nothing, or something like that. Someone else writes. That traitor is still dead. They are just parading around a corpse. Someone else writes, the only January 6th terrorist that got justice that day. Sadly, I have to agree. What is with, and this is someone else, what is with this administration's admiration for failed insurrections, Babbitt, renaming bases after Confederates? What's next? And someone else writes, owning the libs. That's literally all there is. And that's what we talk about here. I want to point out, if this is your motivation, if you are motivated by owning the libs, by owning your fellow Americans, by triggering other Americans, by your love of traitors, first of all, if you are motivated by owning your fellow Americans, you're not a patriot. So, you know, enjoy your day in the sun now, because it's not going to end well for you either. And we will rebuild from your disgraces and your destruction. That's why I say we will not forgive, and I will not forgive, and I will not forget, because you're not going to get off easy. I'm not the only one that will not forgive and not forget. No one has an appetite for let's look forward, not behind. You have to get what's coming to you. And you will. You will. I mean, whether because Republicans only see the light when something affects them directly, as we know. So either it's not going to end well for all of us, that's for sure. The economy this prick has gotten us into, the dollar is weakened, prices are up, wages are down. The entire world looks at us like we are the world pariah. You know, they're not shipping into the United States. Other countries have stopped mailing or allowing, what do you call it? Deliveries to the United States. This is a big deal. Because of that freak, and no one wants to deal with us. We are a laughing stock. Traitor Trump is a Putin bitch who's done more damage to this country than any foreign enemy could ever hope. So face it, you're a traitor. When you vote for a traitor, you're a traitor. I like what this person said. Could you imagine dying wrapped in a flag with Trump's name on it? That's how she died. Shot in the chest after being warned repeatedly by Capitol Police. Wrapped in a flag with someone's fucking name on it. Pathetic. Yeah, and then someone writes, yeah, and to them, that makes her a goddamn martyr. What the actual fuck? The chair force? What kind of Kentucky Fried bootlegging bullshit is this? Yep. Someone writes, congrats to Ashli for 5 years sober. The fuck treasonous insurrectionists. See, this gives me hope for the country. Because this isn't the MAGAt military Reddit page. This is the military Reddit page. Not for liberal military members. For every military. All military. It's just military. Yes, kind of ironic that Secretary of Defense Pete, it's 5 a.m. somewhere, Hexeth, recently posted on social media that women, like the ones who serve, are second-class citizens that don't deserve the right to vote. Yes, and this, another veteran writes, I'm just waiting to hear there will be a Babbitt Air Force Base at this point. Bunch of fucking clowns. I just hope that in 3.5 years, all the discriminated veterans, and not only veterans, will sue the shit out of the relevant government bodies, unless the people will elect someone even worse. And then another one writes, bold of you to assume they're planning on allowing elections. It's disgusting. Oh my God, I just saw this headline from the military. J.D. Vance asks National Guard member if he can touch his gun. Wow. Is that how you talk to Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance? Can I touch your gun? First of all, it's not a gun, bitch. It's a weapon. And no. Have some fucking self-respect. Can I touch your gun? I'm only a boy. Wow. These people, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Are they really, do they really hate other Americans that much? I guess so. And this is the problem. This is why we have to promote education and all of the things that MAGAs hate, because and we have to get our country back, and in that way cultivate a culture of respect for each other and understanding and awareness that democracies are fragile and that we're in this together, that diversity is not a weakness, it's a strength, that compassion and community are it's an amazing American exceptional trait that we as all these diverse people can live together and form a country that works for everybody. That's the kind of country that people want to come to. Nobody wants to come to this Magatville. And that's the truth. The way that these MAGAs have wrecked this country in 6 months, the first maladministration was bad enough. Now, I mean, we know this one is off the chart. And it's not going to end well. But maybe, I guess, hopefully, this is the only thing that keeps me going sometimes, is that it's, of course, it's, maybe this is what it takes to wake the fuck up, people, and get back to, and really understand, actually, what I've been saying for years, that, we have to unapologetically fight on the, fight legally and peacefully these conservatives, that they're unfit, they don't like democracy, they don't like America, they can't function in this country, and here they are proving me right once again. Yeah, we saw a lot of them come into the chat tonight. That's for sure. Yes, Redfoot says yep. I don't know. I mean, they could hang out if they act like adults, but it's very difficult. They just don't want to. At least they spared us the MAGA, right? Usually that's all they say. MAGA. They might as well lay a fart. That's what it sounds like to normal people. MAGA. What does that mean? To me, it means that you have no brain. You're a racist. Your brain worm is in control again. So, I mean, I don't know. Do they hate this country that much? They hate diversity that much that they would watch it all burn before sharing with somebody who's different. Before, just get a grip and get a fucking grip of yourselves, maggots. I mean, don't be so terrified of life. The baboon is worse than you, actually. He's worse. He's terrified He's not a strong man. He's a very weak man. That's why he can't be the president. He doesn't know how to be president. That's why he wants to be a dictator. Because it's easier. He doesn't have the skill to be president. All right. Listen, guys, thank you for hanging out. We are here every Friday. I was waiting for the music. So, yes, thank you for hanging out. We are here every Friday night at 8:30 p.m. right here at the Tarabuster YouTube channel, youtube.com/c-channel/Tarabuster, and on the Political Voices Substack. Thank you very much. And if you can become a patron, please do at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Then let's see. The Tara Show every Tuesday and Thursday on the Political Voices Network right here. Not here on the YouTube channel, but the Political Voices YouTube channel and the Political Voices Substack. And with myself and Tara Dublin, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. You see what I'm saying? Look, I'm looking at some of the MAGAts in the chat. I proved what you are, and that's the truth. You proved what is that? Did they prove? Why don't you go prove that you're not completely devoid of decency and stop voting Republican. Prove that. Prove that you give a shit about the blood on your hands. Prove that you have the capabilities, the fundamental maturity to function in a free democratic society, and stop voting for an absolutely unfit traitor who hates you more than any of us would ever hate you. We don't hate you. We want you to get health care. We want you to have a living wage and a decent environment and retire in security. We want you to have a fucking day off now and then. Not MAGAts, not Traitor Trump, not the people who hate you so much. You're nothing but a host from which to suck profit and discard. They could give a shit about you. God, they're pathetic. But that's it. You know, they get them through they grab them by their racist funny bones. They grab them by the hate. Let's see. Errol Thomas says, please have both Tara Dublin and Poppy Champlin as guests on Tarabuster someday. Maybe. Together? All of us? That sounds like a Tara show, though. Not a Tarabuster. I mean, I'll have Poppy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we could have Poppy. I'll have Poppy. It's been a while. Poppy has not been on the show, but that's not because I don't love Poppy. Right? Alrighty. Alright, guys. I'm tired. I gotta go lay down. Right. Redford said, that's MAGA logic. I farted, so truth. They have no truth. Truth has a liberal bias. Reality is inconvenient to them. I'm telling the truth about them, and they just don't like hearing it. It's cognitive dissonance, yes. That's true. Redfoot says that I've had cognitive dissonance before. It's hard to break. Your brain will do anything to keep from admitting that you were tricked. It feels awful. I don't envy MAGAts. That's true. I wonder sometimes, you know, we all have our blind spots. So sometimes I'm like, what's my blind spot, you know? I'm always open to hearing opinions and whatnot. And I'm overly self-analytical a lot, you know, so I try. If I was wrong, that's why I always say, you know, prove me wrong. If you are seeing something, if I'm missing something, please post it and let's talk about it. I'm not trying to be like right. I don't want to be right. It sucks to be right, literally and figuratively. I wish I was wrong. I wish they weren't evil. I wish I didn't have to live in a country where morons would slit their own throats before they would share with somebody who's different than them. Why don't you just leave people alone? That's the other thing that I can't stand with they blame trans people. Leave fucking trans people alone. No one thinks more about trans people than these people. But that's why they're so tedious, because 5 years ago they weren't talking about trans people, were they? It just proves that they get manipulated. The MAGAts latched on to their scapegoat, and just like the Nazis did, they are gonna, get as much mileage out of it as they can, because the regular old gays wasn't doing the trick anymore, because people were like, no, we know gay people. Gay people are everywhere. They're on TV. We watch Will and Grace, and that's what happens. And eventually it will be that way for trans people too. But it won't stop MAGAts from trying to annihilate them. So you want to talk about the problem with trans people? Well, why don't you leave them the fuck alone and let them get their care and just mind your own fucking business? And there, but for the grace of God, go you. If you were born in the right body, good for you. Leave people the fuck alone. Your gender identity is not in your pee-pee police. It's in your brain. So, and we know that. Not that it matters to them. So, they're fucking ridiculous. And in not too distant future, when future generations look back, they're going to be ashamed. They're going to say it will be on top. It will be on par of every other discriminated group that people will look back on and say, isn't that disgusting? And that's what MAGAts do. That's conservatism. They will always find somebody to beat up on. Well, why don't you try something different, MAGAts, and it will make your life a lot better. Just put down the hate. Leave people alone. You don't have to understand somebody for them to live. Your understanding of somebody does not negate who somebody is, or the right to their existence. Like, you don't have the fucking right to tell people whether they can exist or not and how they exist. It's none of your business. But we know, why do it's like they're so stupid. Here's the thing. Why do men have nipples? Anybody? Well, because all fetuses start from the same blueprint, the female blueprint, so to speak. And a certain point in gestation, chemicals reaction, hormone, blah, 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 starts going, and then either the fetus continues being a female, or develops into a male. Or sometimes things don't develop exactly as supposed, as planned, or whatever you think. There's so many things that could happen in gestation, as we know. So doesn't it make sense that maybe as the fetus is developing, that the brain maybe sometimes doesn't match the pee-pee? So that's why human beings, and maybe that's why God made trans people. So human beings could prove just how compassionate they were by accepting the difference and helping them live their authentic lives in medical ways, in just humanitarian ways, by being like, it's okay. We got you. Doesn't that feel better than you dictating what people do and think and be and blah? You know, no one is under any obligation to make sense to you. Maggots, if it doesn't make sense, well, look at yourselves. You don't make sense to me. I see, how can you be so dumb to be the dupe of a con man who is such an obvious con man? Not just obvious, he's a fucking documented con man with a history of judgments against him for being a con man. But he's not conning you now, right? God, make it stop. And it will stop. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you all. I gotta go lay down. Where are my cats? I love you. Thank you for hanging out. Become a patron if you can at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Check out the Tara Show every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the Political Voices Network YouTube channel with myself and Tara Dublin. We're here every Friday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can be a subscriber to my Substack, that would be nice. Come on, guys. Help me out, man. Help me out. All right, whatever. You know, this is the e-begging part of the show. And thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. I love you all. You guys are great. I can't do it without you. Please. All right. Parting is such sweet sorrow. I gotta go lay down. Anything good on Netflix? I need to. This is what I do on Friday nights after the show. I have to go and pretend that Republicans don't exist. Watch something on Netflix. All right, my friends. Thank you for hanging out. And remember, we will win because we're on the right side of history. Tell your friends, all right? Tell your friends about the show. Like and subscribe. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. And also, because I'm asking you to subscribe to the Substack, because I do a lot of videos and articles during the week as well, okay? And if you enjoy the show and like my show and want to, you know, this is how we fight fascism. I know there's a lot out there and everybody's always asking you to help and whatnot, but this is the liberal media. This is it. I'm trying to find my link to the Substack. Where's my link? Tarabuster. That's what it is. I'm going to put it in the thing here. All right, guys. I love you. Enough e-begging. You know what to do. My name is Tara Devlin. We will win. We stick together. We win. I will see you soon.